Welcome to the Know Before You Go, or Know Before You Apply workshop. You're here because you're trying to find out a little bit more information about how you apply to participate at Orlando Fringe. And there's some people joining us virtually. If you would like to add comments, where it says click here, it will direct you over to YouTube and you can ask questions and things like that, and I'll answer your questions live. And I'm just going to give it just one more minute to have people join in. So I am Tempestt Halstead. I am the festival producer here at Orlando Fringe. And we have some lovely humans in the audience if we want to do a little round of introductions.
Okay, this is Tempestt Halstead. Tom Roll.
Hello. Sure. Hi, Drum. It's very nice to have you. And that's Genevieve over there. She is the manager of education, producer of education.
Yes.
Yes.
Creative learning producer.
I work closely with her for these workshops to make sure that they become live and in person. So I'm very thankful for Genevieve. So yeah, again, my name is Tempestt, for those of us just joining on the live stream, and we will get started here in just a second. And those of you who just joined, if you click on the link that says click here to view, it will take you over to the YouTube channel. That's where you can live and interact, add chats. If you add Q&As, I will answer them live for you. Sweet. All right, we have about 8 people in. Okay, so Orlando Fringe, you want to apply. Where do you even get started? Well, we're going to get started with what is Fringe. So Fringe is a little historical context. Fringe started in Edinburgh, Scotland. There was this famous theater festival that happened that was very big. It was for the aristocrats. It was for the rich people. And some of these artists wanted to get involved in the Fringe, or in this theater festival, and they said, no, you can't join. And so they said, okay, well, we're gonna just perform outside. We're gonna perform on the fringe of your festival. And very successful. It got so big that other artists started to join, and then more patrons started to join, and it got bigger than that Edinburgh Festival. So it became a staple, and now Edinburgh Fringe is the largest performing arts festival in the world. Not just a Fringe, but in the world. And so after a few years, Australia caught wind of it and was like, hey, I think we can do the exact same thing in our city. So that they started a festival over in Adelaide, and they did a Fringe. And then in the 70s or so, Canada's like, we want to do it, but we want to do it differently. We want to set certain terms so that it benefits the artists a little bit more. So Canada decided to get together, and if you are a Canadian Fringe festival, you have to be a part of a thing called CAF, which is the Canadian Association of Fringe Festivals. If you are not a part of CAF and you do not follow their rules, you cannot be a Fringe in Canada. You cannot use the term Fringe. They have trademarked it, they have branded it, you're not allowed. And the United States was like, we really like what you're doing out there, and so Orlando took form. We are the oldest one in the United States. We're not the oldest one in North America, those were the Canadians first, but we were the first ones to do it in the United States. So what really is Fringe is it's a 14-day theater, art, music, entertainment festival. We do it all. We do visual Fringe, we do kids Fringe, we do outdoor stage with music, and we do theater for all. Dance, stand-up comedians, clowns, so many different genres within what they consider to be theater or live entertainment. So every single year in May, we take 2 weeks out of our lives, and we also do a fun little thing outside in Lock Haven, where we broke it off and we have our own experience. So we have an outdoor stage, we have vendors, we have a bar, we have just a general hangout. So if you see a bunch of shows that day and you just want to kick back and relax, you can do that. And then it is the oldest Fringe festival in the US, and something really fun is we select all of our shows. We actually don't select them. We do it through a lottery base. And going back to that CAF, that is one of the mandates to be part of CAF. And we'll go into that a little bit more. So this year we are in our 33rd year as a Fringe festival. And this year it's going to take place May 15th through the 27th, 2024. We'll get into more details about which venues we're going to be using because it's going to be a little bit different for this year. What are the changes, what are staying consistent, and things like that. So that's what a Fringe festival is. It's definitely exploring different genres. It's for new producers, new works. It's for veteran producers who've done it for years and years and years. It really is for everybody and anybody to explore. If you're workshopping something and you need to just have an audience, we have that built-in audience for you. So whatever you want out of Fringe, that is what you can get out of Fringe. So what is CAF? Why do we associate with CAF? So again, going back, CAF wanted to organize and set certain mandates to be a part of a Fringe festival, and they really wanted it to be that for the artists, right? So a couple of things that we have to follow to be a part of CAF is that we have to be 100% unjuried. So we do not select the shows in the festival other than BYOBs. And we'll get into a little bit more detail about what a BYOB is. But the festival managed venues are completely unjuried, so we do a lottery. Everyone has the same opportunity as everyone else, except for a diversity lottery. We do give an additional poll to members of marginalized communities. Another thing is we're completely uncensored. What happens on that stage is whatever that artistic person wants to happen on stage. Also meaning uncensored as we have no artistic curation in your show. As Fringe, we are not going to dictate or tell you what you can put on that stage. That is for you to decide. It needs to be accessible, so there needs to be components of accessibility, not only monetarily, so we need to keep our pricing low for all of our patrons, our pricing low for all of our artists, but we have to have accessibility components in the festival, whether it be through having bariatric seating or all of our venues be wheelchair accessible. We have to maintain accessibility for all peoples. And it needs to be inclusive. We need to have some sort of program that is making sure that everybody who wants to participate can participate fairly and doing certain outreach. And again, we do our diversity lottery to give those who are in a marginalized community an additional pull in the lottery. We think it's extremely important that we do not have one type of story being told. It needs to be all types of story being told. So we are really passionate that we are a part of CAF. Another great thing about being a part of CAF is 100% of the ticket sales go back to the artists. Not every Fringe is going to be a model of that. There are certain, like Edinburgh, for example, they do not do 100% of ticket sales back to the artists. They might do a percentage. So Edinburgh Fringe takes 10%, maybe the venue takes another 10%, and then 80% of your ticket sales go back to you. There are festivals who do a 50-50 ticket split. There are festivals who do, okay, we'll pay you a stipend to be a part of this festival, but you don't get any ticket sales. So we, at Orlando Fringe, follow CAP. So 100% of your ticket sales go back to you as an artist. We do not take your cut. What we do instead is that we do require every festival goer to have a button that helps with our operational support. So in order for a patron to get into a show, they need a ticket and they need a button. The button is just a one-time purchase, and they can use it for as many shows as they want, and they purchase the ticket. So again, just going over, I'm jury, artists are selected through a lottery system. Uncensored, we have no artistic say in what you guys want to put on the stage. Accessible, costs to participate are lower than traditional producing, and inclusive. We will promote model inclusivity, diversity, and multiculturalism throughout not only our staff and organization, but through the shows that get into the festival. Now, 100% ticket sales go back to the artists. It's so important. So, where is Orlando Fringe? It is a strange year. We are losing half of Shakes because they're doing a reconstruction. So we are losing, if you're not familiar, we are losing orange, blue, red, and yellow. We are also losing our main box office for Orlando Shakes, but we are utilizing it somewhere else. But that brings us to what venues we are going to have. So we have our main hub, we like to say, at Lock Haven. This is where we have our outdoor lawn. We have our outdoor stage, we have our beer, we have our liquor, we have a bunch of food vendors, places for you to sit, hang out. And so that's a central location. From there, we kind of spiral that out, and we have the Shakes. So we still will be using the Shakes this year, but we are only doing 2 venues. We're going to be doing Flint and Brad venue. We will also have a Fringe headquarters still, and we'll have a courtyard there. We will have an ancillary box office, a smaller box office. We know that patrons are going to gravitate towards Shakes for the big box office, so we want to at least have something there for them. And then Orlando Family Stages, formerly known as the Red. We will have Silver and Green, which we've used in the past. But the new venues are going to be Peach and Aqua. And we'll go into more detail about each individual venue and what we offer in a moment. Then we're going to OMA. We're going to have Gold, which we've used in the past, and Bronze we've used way back in the day, so we're bringing it back. If you're familiar, it's where the artist lounge was and where volunteer, so we're pushing those 2 together and making it a venue. We will have Teal over in Art Space, which we're in Art Space, so the big main stage is going to be at a venue, and then this is going to be a hangout spot. So we're going to create that hangout vibe of the lawn here. And then we have other ways that you can participate, BYOBs and site specifics. So BYOB, the best way to put it is, back in the day, there was not enough slots for as many artists as we were getting. And so some artists went to other venues and were like, we want to perform here. Can we have some sort of partnership with Orlando Fringe to be able to have more opportunities for artists? They have to follow specific guidelines that we give them in order to be a BYOB. The only difference is curated. So BYOBs do get to select the participants in the festival, But they do have to follow all of the same models, so that 100% ticket sales go back to the artists. They have to have it be accessible. Pricing needs to be on par with what we charge for production fees, but they do select the shows that are in those BYOBs. We have 4 this year. We have the Renaissance. We are going to have SAC, which is going to be here in our new building. We're going to have Savoy, and we're going to have the Abbey. So we've worked out 3 out of the 4 of those we've worked with before. And then site specifics are fun. Those are in odd, unique places. So an artist might come to me and be like, I want to do a show in a bathroom. And I go, great, let's do a show in a bathroom. That's site specific. I want to do a show in a van. Great, let's do a show in a van. That's a site specific. We have had Blue Gardens be a site specific show. The reason why we chose not to be a BYOB instead of a site specific was that show was only supposed to be in that space. So even though it's like a more typical traditional venue, it really did cater to being at Blue Gardens. So those are a brief overview of the venues that we will have this year. We have 9 venues this year. So we are reducing in size. Last year we had 11 venues. We are reducing down to 9 venues. We heard some feedback from artists last year that even though we hit record sales, they didn't feel it as an individual artist. So we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, what are some ways that we can reevaluate how we model the festival and we can help artists a little bit better. So that is one of the feedbacks that we took and we implemented for this year. Tiers. So at Fringe, we're complicated. We like to be complicated, but we have tiers, right? So you have your venues, your tiers, and your categories. What a tier is we lump certain sizing of seating capacity into one tier. So the largest tiers are our tier 1s, right? So tier 1 venues range from 230 seats to 320 seats. In tier 1, you can have a max show time of 75 minutes. And so our tier 1s are gold, silver, and peach. Tier 2s are our medium range tiers. So they can range anywhere from 150 seats to 100 seats. You still can have a max run time of 75 minutes. And those mid tiers are teal, green, pink, and brown. What's the seat range? The seat range is 150 to 100 seats. So teal is 150, green, pink, and brown is 100. Okay, you're welcome. And then tier 3 are smaller venues. These are more intimate spaces, low tech, things like that. And so that's going to be a 60 to 50 seat range. And the max runtime that you can have in that venue is 60 minutes. We have 2 this year, so bronze and aqua. And just be aware that bronze and aqua are built out spaces. And then we have to make it even more confusing, and we have to categorize based off of your location. So you can have local, that's within 100 miles of the Orlando area. National is anything outside of that that is in the United States. And then international is obviously self-explanatory. It's outside of the United States. So when you go on to fill out your application, depending on where you're at, you're going to be asked to select what tier you want. Then it's going to say, are you a local, national, or international? And then it will give you the option to say what venues you want to have, and then what venues are not suitable for your show, right? So maybe you have a one-person solo show, but you want to be a tier 1, and you're a national. So on your application, you're going to select tier 1, you're going to select national, then you're going to go and you're like, I want gold because that's the best venue for a one-person solo show. But I don't really want silver and peach. So what that does is helps me when I go and place certain shows in certain venues to get that venue that you want, that you'll be most successful in. If for some reason you're pulled way late in the lottery, I might have a conversation with you and be like, hey, I have no more spots in gold, but I have silver. Would you like silver? Would you like to have that venue, or do you want to be put back on the wait list? And if a spot in gold opens up, you're first to get gold. So I'll have those conversations with you. But what it does in the application, it really makes my job a lot easier. So I can go in and give those people their preferred venues, and they're not preferred venues. Hi Diane, I have not covered that yet, but I will definitely cover that because that is very, very good information. Diane was asking if you could cover what the colors mean for the venues. So I'm just going to go back to these venues again. So pink is in the shades. It's a 100-seat theater. It is a proscenium style theater and it has raised seating. Brown is a build-out theater, so it is low tech. We only have lighting on trees. We cannot hang any lights, so we don't have a grid. It is a 3/4 thrust with raised seating, 100-seat capacity. Raised seating is that the seating goes on like a rake. It's not all on one level. Teal is a proscenium style thrust with a slight thrust, and that one also has raised seating. That is 150 seats, so that's the largest tier 2 that we have. Silver is a tier 1, it's a large venue. It is a 320 seat, proscenium style with a very slight thrust, raised seating. Peach is a 3/4 thrust, so meaning there is seating on all 3 sides of the venue, and it does have raised seating as well. If you're familiar with orange, it's almost the exact replica of orange, but just in a different space. Green is a flex black box space, so it's very similar to this, just much larger, and that is 100 seats as well. We typically do a seating arrangement of a 3/4 thrust. On either side is level seating with a slight break in the center seating. That's typically how we have it. Sometimes it might adjust based off of what Orlando Fringe Stages is doing or anything like that, so it might be an in stage with rate, but we try to have that one be a 3/4 black box. Aqua is going to be a build out, so it is a rehearsal hall in Orlando Fringe Stages. That one is going to have a slight break, and it is a 100-seater. That one will have a combination, I believe, of slight hanging from a grid and also tree lights. Gold is a tier 1 venue. It's like auditorium style. There is a very, very minimal break. It is more of a thrust type of stage. It's a very odd type of stage. If you've ever been in like a auditorium presentation style, it's very presentational. And that one is a 230. Bronze is going to be another build-out space, so it is almost like a conference room. So we will do a complete build-out. That one is for low tech. Solo shows, very minimal lighting, very minimal sound. We will only be able to do trees in that venue. And then BYOBs and site specifics. All of the BYOB information is online, but still seeing what is going to be the theater space of each of them. And then obviously site specifics, just pitch it to me. Those applications are open now. So when you go into the regular application, you can just select site specific, and then it will give you the options for site specific information. We arrange all of our venues based off of color coordination. This is just our thing that we do. Some festivals will do numbers, some festivals will use the actual name of the theaters, but it's just something that makes us a little bit unique, a little bit special. There's no real meaning behind it other than it's just fun, and it's easy directional sign to say like, oh, go to green venue instead of go to the black box at Orlando Family Stages, you know. If you get into the festival and you do your promotional materials, you'll want to use the color coordinated venues just because our patrons already are educated on what our colors mean. So there's really no meaning behind it other than it's just something that we do here. Amplified Voices Lottery. So we reserve 30% of our lottery pick shows to marginalized community. So that could be members of the BIPOC community. It could be based off of religion, race, age, accessibility, disability. So if you feel like you are a part of a marginalized community, that's not for me to dictate. That's something that's a personal choice. So we do not gatekeep. If you select you're a part of a marginalized community, we trust you, we believe in you. But we do afford 30% of our lottery picks to the diversity lottery or amplified voice lottery. So that means there's 70% of lottery shows that we still have to pay. And I'll go into how those kind of break down a bit more. If you do decide to be a part of the Amplified Voices Lottery and you don't get selected in that 30%, you still have another opportunity to be selected in that 70%. So your name automatically gets put into that, the regular lottery. So you get 2 chances. And in the application, it will say, like, hey, are you a part of, would you like to be a part of? So what's the cost? Obviously, the higher the seating capacity, the higher the production cost. This is a breakdown, and it's also on the application. It's also online if you want to go into further detail. So our silver and peach are our highest based on all of the production fees are based off of occupancy or seating capacity. Gold is a little bit cheaper because it is a reduced seating capacity compared to silver and peach. Then you get into your tier 2s, again, your smaller capacities. The reason why teal is cheaper than pink, green, and brown is you are a little off-site. So I only recommend teal venue is if you're local and you have a following, just because there is a barrier to getting down here. Now we do offer free shuttle service to get from Lock Haven to here and back, but there is just a barrier. Some people don't want to leave off-site. So I really only recommend this for locals who already have a following. And that's why there is a reduced price. We are fully aware of that barrier, so we don't want to charge you a premium rate, even though it is one of our highest seating tier 2s. And then tier 3s are relatively cheap. The aqua and the brown. The aqua and the bronze, sorry. Aqua is because we are able to put some lighting up top, the technical equipment is a little bit better, that's why it's a little bit more money than bronze, and then the seating capacity is 60 and 50. If you do want to go over 75, if you want to go 61 to 75 minutes in your show, just being aware there is an additional fee to do that. It is $200 on top of your production fee. And the reason for that is you're taking a spot away from someone else for a 75-minute show. I can select 90 shows in the festival if they were all 60 minutes. But the moment I select a 75-minute, then you're leading into a 60-minute show, so there's a reduction in that. So just being aware.
So these numbers are like one-time
One
fee, if you do 6 shows over the festival, you're still paying just that number.
Just that number. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you will be asked in the application how many shows that you want. So 4, 5, 6, or 7. It's not a guarantee. If you're pulled way last, maybe I don't have that spot. Maybe there are a bunch of 75-minute shows and I just can't accommodate that 7. I'll always talk to you. I'll say, hey, I can only fit 6 shows in your desired venue. Is that okay? Or I can fit you in 7 shows in this kind of, you're not your first choice venue. So I'll always have those conversations with you. But yeah, it's just a one-time payment. So because you're paying for it, we want to showcase what you get out of it. So what we provide is Fringe, and what you provide is a show. So what we provide the venue with all of the tech in it. So lighting board, sound board, all of the cabling, everything. We provide that for you. It's a fully functional theater when you come into the space. We're also going to provide tech labor for you. So we have technicians for each venue. And in tier 1, we actually have 2 technicians because we know if you're selecting tier 1, you're probably a huge musical ensemble. We have 2 technicians. We have a lighting technician and a sound technician. Those techs are with you the entire festival. So when you tech your show, it's the same techs as your 7th show. So they are with you the entire way. They're very familiar with your show. We provide a ticketing system. We do all of that ticketing for you. You guys don't have to worry about that. And in the system, you can see ticketing reports and things like that. We provide patron services, right? So our concierge service, our box office, maps, programs, all of that stuff. We will provide that for you. Printed program. We do all of that design work, printing work, everything to get you guys seen, and so patrons have a good time. Festival marketing. What we do is an overarching festival marketing. You still should market your show, your individual show. we can't market 120 different shows, right? If we are not curating it, it is not good for us to play favoritism, right? We are the bigger picture. We are festival producers. We're not picking whose show is good, whose show is bad. That's not on us to make that determination. So we do overarching festival marketing. We do billboards. We do radio spots. We do all kinds of different kind of marketing. We do artist workshops and resources. So I am with you the entire process, from the start of the application until the end of the festival. I'm here for every question that you have. We have all kinds of different workshops to get you guys prepared and ready to go. So we have a producing 101, where we get into the nitty-gritty of producing at the festival, whether it be through financials or casting, or getting royalties and licensing, everything. So we'll get into detail about producing. We offer marketing workshops 1 and 2. So we have an overarching marketing workshop to get you started, and then we go into the nitty-gritty. And then we have other resources for you. And then a central community hub. We're doing all that work for you to create the central hub to get more eyes on your individual show. And what you guys provide? A show, I hope. You're going to provide the production fees. You are required to get any royalty or licensing fees. That is if you're doing a Sondheim show, you have to go out and get those royalties. If you're writing your own show, it doesn't matter. You don't need those. You're providing the sets and the costumes. And be really aware, too, with Fringe, sets are very minimal, right? You're not bringing in a huge set, right? You only maybe have a 3-hour tech, things like that. So it's a low set, and costumes you can be creative, but you'll provide those. Other production costs that we might not have, right? So if you need to do marketing, if you need to hire on some people, those are costs that you take on, we don't take on. Show-specific marketing, artist payments, and I say optional. There are some people who do this for free and the love of it. There are different models that you can do to pay your artists, whether it's profit sharing or a stipend. So you can work out your own artist payments. We have nothing to do with the individual artist payments. And then supplementary support like an SM. So if you do want to hire an SM to run your show, it's not required. You do not have to have a stage manager at all. Our techs know how to run a show. It's completely optional, but if you just want that extra support during the rehearsal process or anything like that, you take on that cost of a stage manager. And then how to apply. So applications are open already. You can apply at orlandofringe.org. On the little carousel tab, it says apply. It will go over all of the rules in detail, and then it will take you to what we call Eventotron. That is an artist management system that we utilize. Through Eventotron, that's where the application is. It is open until November 15th. Just being aware that November 1st through the 15th, applications do go up in price. Right now, we are in early bird at $25, and then it goes up to $50. And those are non-refundable. Even though we're fun and we want to be uncensored, we still have to follow some rules. So 1 application per producer. That's out of fairness. There are over 300 applicants that apply sometimes, and we want to make sure that everyone has the same opportunity. You might be financially well off, but that doesn't mean you get more opportunities than someone else. That doesn't follow our model. That's not fair. So only 1 application per producer. That also means you cannot change your producer information, right? You can't sell your spot. If you get into the festival, you can't give it to somebody else and hope for that. You can't say, hey, I have this show, this producer got in, and then I want to co-produce. No, 1 producer per application. I will find you. I'm very good at finding you, so don't do it. Submit and pay by the deadline. When you fill the application, no TBD or show title as when you're filling it out. It can be just a placeholder show title. It can say so-and-so's name, show fantastic. We will give you opportunities to change the title of your show, but just for us, when we're pulling the lottery, if we pull a bunch of TBDs and then people are like really excited and we're like, no, this other TBD. So we just want to make it easy on us. You can put whatever you want in there, just don't put TBD or show title. You cannot change your cheer or your run time once you submit your application. So be very conscious of like your venue selection and your tier and things like that. You won't be able to change it after the fact. So if you select 60 minutes in your show and you get into the lottery and you say, oh, I want a 75-minute, we can't do it. So if you do want a 75-minute show and then you decide, oh, hey, I'm only doing a 60, that's okay. We can reduce time, we just can't add time after the fact. The application fee is not refundable. Hi, come on in. How are you? You cannot change the producer information after it's been submitted. So if you are doing co-production or anything like that, make sure you put both producer on there. You can't change the main contact, none of that, the production company. That's just to keep it fair. Code of conduct must be signed by all producing artists and all artists in the festival. We're really, really conscious of the fact that there is a lot that we can't control, but we can control people's behavior in the festival, right? What happens on that stage is what happens on that stage. But the moment that you step off of that stage, you are going to adhere to a code of conduct. We don't tolerate hate in any form. We don't tolerate a lot. So make sure that every single person of your cast signs a code of conduct. And then apply to the correct category, meaning if you're a local artist, don't apply to national, international, I'll make you change it. But just follow those rules. The lottery. So you apply. What happens next? So the lottery will take place December 4th, 2023, right here in the main stage. It will also be live streamed on all of our social medias. But I want to break down exactly how many spots are in each of the categories. So again, 30% of the applications are going to be pulled from that Amplified Voices lottery. Then that 70% pull, out of that 70%, we are pulling 50% of the applicants in the local, 25 for national, and then 25 for international. So that goes for each tier, right? So if we have 10 spots in tier 1, for example, and 2 of them got pulled from Amplified Voices, then we have only 8 remaining spots to split up between theirs. So then it would be 4, 2, and 2. So each category gets pulled that way. Important due dates. This is also online, all of it, but just being aware there are some important dates if you do get into the festival. Lottery applications again opened on September 1st and they close on November 15th. Lottery drawing will be on December 4th, right here at ArtSpace or online. If you do not get into the regular lottery, you can apply to be a part of the BYOBs. The benefit is if you apply for the normal lottery and you didn't get in, you don't have to pay additional to apply for the BYOBs. It's free for you to apply. So those applications open up a bit later on December 8th. Those are going to close on the 22nd. And then your tech rehearsals start for local on May 11th. And then starting for national, international, they start May 13th. And your performances are going to be May 15th through the 27th. That 27th is reserved for what we call Patrons Pick. So the 2 top selling shows in festival managed venues will get an additional show on the 27th at no additional cost. So it's just extra money in your pocket as a producing artist. And obviously, there are a lot more due dates other than these. These are just the important ones to keep track of. Diane, yes, it is totally acceptable to have shows under 60 minutes. So if you have a 45-minute show, please just select it on the application. But you're more than welcome to have shows under 60 minutes. So before we get to the Q&A, I know there's some artist-specific questions. So other ways to participate in the festival. So if you don't get to the lottery, you don't get to the BYOB, there is an opportunity to perform at Kids Fringe if you want to. They have their own separate application. We pay a stipend to the Kids Fringe artists, and then you can ask for tips and things like that. So you can perform if it's a kids like under 13 show. We don't want an 18+ show performing at Kids Fringe. There's visual fringe. So if you're a visual fringe artist, those applications open up typically in January. If you sell your piece of art, 100% of those revenue goes back to you as an artist, so that's another way to get involved. If you're a performing artist, in January, what we do is unified auditions. So we invite all producers in the festival, if they still need to cast their show, an opportunity to see a bunch of artists all at once and be able to cast from that. So I think last year we had like 112 different individual artists audition for 30-something producers who still needed to cast. So those happen in January every single year. It's January 25th, 28th, and 29th. So it's 3 days of auditions. It's very simple. It's a 5-minute slot for each individual artist. They'll be asked to read a monologue, both a dramatic and a comedic, or maybe if they're only doing dramatic, they can just read one. And then specialty skills, things like that. Producers will ask questions, and then if that producer wants to cast you, they'll reach out to you individually, either for a callback session or anything like that. Then there's also the outdoor stage that you can perform at. That is more musical here, but we do have like some of our artists who have like a skit or something. We have comedy night, all kinds of different theme nights for the outdoor stage. And then we also have busking, which busking is a performance. It's not really a performance, it's more geared towards audience interaction, things like that, so there's busking opportunities on the lawn as well. So there is definitely different ways to get involved in the festival if you don't get into the lottery or if you don't get into a BYOB, there's other opportunities. Yeah. So I'm gonna open up to Q&A for anyone who has questions or if I missed anything. As you may be able to tell. Are you able to pick what days that you want to perform? So you do not select the days you perform, the producers select the days you perform, but how it works is you can put conflicts into, once you get accepted into the festival, you go over to a different portion of Eventotron and you go into forms. So there's different information we need from you to be able to do our job, and one of them is conflicts. We do our absolute best to try and accommodate every conflict. We know there's artists that may be performing in more than one show. So we ask that on the conflict form and we will do our absolute best to try and accommodate them. The only thing we ask is that you limit it to 2 conflicts. If you are 7 shows and you only want Saturday and Sunday performances, it's unfair to other artists, right? So when we're doing the scheduling, it's very much there. You'll have peak times, you'll have off-peak times, you'll have Saturday performances, you'll have Wednesday performance, right? So everyone has the same fairness and room to have audiences. So we definitely will accommodate your conflicts, and we will try the best that we can. But again, they're not always guaranteed, but I will always communicate to that individual artist and say, hey, I saw that you have a conflict on this day. Is there a world where you can do a later time or something like that? We try and make it work. Or if you have multiple artists, and I know that, I will not do conflicting shows. That way the artist can't participate in both shows. We know that a lot of our performing artists will do multiple shows. So just put that in the form and we'll try and accommodate as the best we can. We ask that you try to be available for the entirety of the festival. We know life happens, especially if the Nationals Act is like, hey, I'm overlapping with another festival. I can only do 4 shows in that first week. I discourage it. I want you spaced out so you can create some buzz for your show, but I will absolutely accommodate if you need accommodations in that way. And if you have a kid in your show and you're like, hey, I want to do earlier shows because they have a bedtime, we'll accommodate those needs as well. Any other questions?
So if someone is picking lottery and then they have to go out for some reason, I know you have like a list that's like a waiting list, maybe you can call it that. How does that spot get
Filled? Perfect. Excellent question. So we do hold a wait list, right? So we pull the normal slots, say there's only 12 slots, but then we will pull 10 waitlisted artists in that category, right? So for international, national, and in that specific tier. If, say, an artist in gold venue pulls out, and the next person on the wait list is, they want a silver venue. That person, the first person on the wait list, will get the offer, but I'll communicate to them, hey, I only have gold available to you. Do you want to take that spot? And if they say, no, I want to wait for a silver spot, then they go back onto the wait list as the first, and I'll go to the next artist, and I'll make that same offer to them until I have an artist say, yes, I'm in, I want to do it, and so I pull them from the wait list, and they go on to the regular festival manage.
So the spot that you have on the wait list is also determined by pulling the name out of the hat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And there is not drawn. You just don't get drawn. You're not on a wait list, you're not on anything. I'm just being aware if you get pulled on the wait list for Festival Manage and you want to take your shot at a BYOV, you get pulled off the wait list, right? So if you get accepted into a BYOV, you automatically lose your spot on the wait list, right? You've gotten into the festival, that is the choice you make. But if you're first on the wait list and you get a BYOV offer, you have to weigh the pros and cons. Like, will I get moved? Probably. We do a lot of moving on the wait list. People's circumstances change from December to January. You know, there's just so many different things happen. So we definitely utilize the wait list quite a bit. Yeah.
I have a question. Is this for performing artists?
This workshop is more like for producing artists. So they have a show idea or a concept, or they go to a show and they want to produce it at our festival. This is how they would do it. For performing artists, we have the unified auditions. You can audition for one of the shows that got us to the festival.
I'm a visual artist.
You're a visual artist, so we have Visual Fringe. Those applications open up in January, and we put up your art in Orlando Shakes, and it's all on the walls, and 100%. If they sell, we just manage it. If they sell, then 100% of those proceeds go back to you.
Is it January?
Yep, January. And it's online. You can find it, and you'll submit it. Melanie is our Visual Fringe producer, so she handles all of that. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Will Aqua or Browns have any sound ability or just?
Oh yes, they will. They'll have sound.
Okay.
Yep.
Like you can play sound?
We will have, yes, we will have playback feature in all ours. Bronze, we will have the ability to do, there's already a projector screen in that one. And then Aqua, I think we're gonna probably hang, but it might be a situation like Brown where it's kind of hung on the tree and at a weird angle. But yes, there will be playback in both of those venues.
You find you get in and you start pulling your stuff together and then afterwards you get and stuff together.
Yep.
I would like to know mine. Like it's kind of good to do that.
Great question. So from the time that you get told and make your production fee, there are certain deadlines where we will do a refund to you. So you would communicate to me like, hey, it's just not working out, I need to pull out. I believe it's, I don't want to say the wrong dates, I believe it's end of January is 100% refund. So you can make that determination if you're just not ready, if you feel you get 100% of those production fees back to you. Between end of January and end of February, 50% refund on those. And then after the end of February onwards, there is no refund on production fees.
So then when do you want the production fees paid by?
That's a great question. So 2 weeks after the lottery, I go through everything and I place people, I talk to my technical director, seeing what venues work, making sure run times, all of that. So 2 weeks after the lottery, I make offers. After you accept your offer, you have 72 hours to pay your production fee. And that's just to make things keep moving along. You know, if something's happening, as long as you communicate, we can try and work it out. But that's a pretty hard rule across the board because if we just keep getting kicked down the road, I can't start my planning and things like that. So 72 hours after your offer is made to pay your production fee.
Is the code of conduct that you referenced, is that on the website?
If you go into our safer spaces, it has all of our safer spaces policies on it. And then there's like, obviously the artist's contract and stuff like that. There's some other ones of like how you behave as a producer. That's not on the website, but it's available to all of the artists. And if you email me, I'm more than welcome, I will share that information. But on our website at the bottom, there's a Save for Spaces. It's pretty much the exact same verbiage. What if you're not sure what venue to select? On the application, if you go into, when you're selecting all of that, if you go into orlandofringe.org/venues, there are some videos to watch that have walkthroughs of the venues. There are technical specs on each of the venues. There are a bunch of information on each individual venue. And on the application, there's a bunch of spec sheets and things like that, so you can take a closer look. But if you're, maybe the question is you're a brand new artist in the festival and you don't know how to place yourself, you can always email me and I will give you the God honest truth. I will not lie to you and I will not set you up for not being successful. Maybe you're like, I'm a solo show, but I have a phone, but I don't. Like, all of those nuances for the individual producer, I will answer the question with utter transparency, and my email is tempestt@orlandofringe.org, and that's Tempestt with 2 T's, so TEMPEST@orlandofringe.org, and my email's on the application as well. I know there's so many questions. Yes, Sam, please email me. I'll walk you through it.
How would it work with the CAC application? Like, should we apply through Orlando and through CAC Orlando too, or?
I would, if you're applying for CAC, I would hold off on applying for Orlando until after the CAC lottery. We will still be open with our applications. And what I'm trying to do is get a list of producers who applied to CAC, so I can then deduct the $25. So it's still at that reduced rate, because I know I had a meeting about. I'm also on the touring artist committee for CAC, so we had a meeting about that, and I wanted to make sure. So just apply for the CAC lottery first, and then if you don't get in, then apply for the regular lottery. Something that we do, all of those CAC festivals I was talking about, we're connected. So we keep communication. We have a conference every year that we all go to. It's actually coming up in November in Edmonton this year. So all of us as producers connect. We bounce ideas off of each other. Maybe we had some problems this year we just don't know how to solve, so we utilize them as resources. And they do a separate lottery. So it's more geared towards touring artists. So if you're doing more than 2 fringes, there's an opportunity to apply as a CAC lottery, and you can get like a tour spot. So our regional tour is Fort Myers Fringe, us, and Tampa Fringe. Or you could do a Canadian tour. A lot of artists do that as well. But yeah, just like that. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to be here for a little bit. You can come and chat with me if you have more specific nuances of your show or want some advice or anything like that. Applications are open now, so definitely apply. If you have any other questions and you want to head out, you have my email. I'm pretty good about answering emails. Yeah. All right, everybody on the live stream, thank you so much. This is also going to be recorded and put on the website, so if you want to refer back to it at any point in time, please feel free. The entire presentation is on the web stream as well, so you can kind of read all of those. And definitely read through the bigger rules, just in case I missed anything. Sweet. Bye, everybody.
Was I in that at all?
Yep. Yep.
And